Hi, Katie.
John?
Yes.
Perfect.
Cell phone charger back there if you need one.
Oh, great. Actually, I do.
All right.
Oh, gosh. How's your day going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, yeah.
That's great. You visiting from out of town?
I am. I'm here for work, and my flight's not until tomorrow afternoon, so I'm going to go check out downtown Naperville.
Ah, okay. Where are you coming in town from?
Oregon.
Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up in California.
Okay.
And the most Californian thing you can do is move to Oregon.
Yes, especially recently.
Yeah.
Gosh, with COVID, I think I don't know what our population has increased to, but it's a lot more than it used to be, that's for sure.
That's what I'm noticing. Yeah. What type of work do you do?
I work for
Okay.
in their retail marketing division. I was here opening a store at the Chicago Premium Outlets.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's been a long week. I'm excited to get home and sleep.
Sure. So what does the store opening involve, I guess?
Well, basically you get just a blank box of a store, and then you have to build fixtures. There's a floor plan that's, laid out and approved beforehand, and
Sure.
then the product arrives, so you have to process all the stock and freight of the product, and then merchandise it, and then layer in the marketing, and then open the doors, and hopefully people buy it.
Oh. And is that what you do regularly for Columbia?
That's one chapter of my life. I also manage our entire fleet for marketing campaigns, so window displays, and anytime there's a new product launch, we support in-store. Kind of anything that has to do with our stores from a customer experience standpoint is me.
Interesting. And so what would you call that? Is that customer experience?
Yeah, so our
design?
team is technically called the Store Experience
Store
team,
Experience.
but I think my title is like in-store marketing manager or something like that. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's deceiving. There's more. There's always more. Like the music that's played inside the store, something you don't really think about, but
Sure.
those playlists are curated over time.
Oh, of course. And the layout of them is designed to have you flow from one to another.
Yep.
And maybe graze and pick a little stuff from here. Yeah. I have a cousin who did that work for Target.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what you do is the store design.
Yeah.
And there's subtle psychology involved in that, which is really fun.
Yeah. If that interests you, there's a book called Why We Buy,
Ooh.
and it's kind of like if you remember the book like Freakonomics, how they break down some of those trends. It's kind of like that, where it breaks down the customer shopping experience and the psychology behind it. And
I love that.
like
That's
one
cool.
example, there was a grocery store, and they were doing this analysis, and they placed this display like right inside the door with their best deals, lowest prices, and people were just blowing right past it because they learned that you need they call it basically like a calm down zone. So when you first walk through the doors, anything that you put within the first 6 feet is going to get totally lost because people are just trying to,
orient themselves.
yes,
to the grocery store.
they're frazzled from the parking lot, and they're trying to put their keys away, and they're digging out their phone to figure out, what their list is, and they're not paying attention to anything that's happening within the first 6 to 10 feet. So you really want to place things back further. It's a decompression zone, I think is what they call it. But
that's so interesting.
yeah, so stuff like that it's really, as a society, we always think like more, bigger, and we're finding that actually smaller spaces are more profitable, and not putting out as many options, the customer just gets really overwhelmed. So having a really curated assortment of product is actually better than having, if you want a gray sneaker, you don't need 15 different options, like 2 is enough.
Sure. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I find it fascinating. I love what I do, so
That's
let me
cool.
talk your ear off about it.
Please do.
Sorry.
Yeah, please do. I find it fascinating. So did you go to school to study the psychology
Not at all.
of marketing?
No,
Okay.
I just went to school for marketing, just a basic
Okay.
marketing degree, business marketing degree, and then,
Sure.
being from Oregon, I knew Columbia was in Portland, but the more I kind of learned about the company, I just really wanted to work for them, and so I started by working in the mailroom and printed, presentations for people and delivered mail, and I got to learn kind of what everyone did in every department, and I knew I wanted to be in marketing at some point. I just didn't really know where in marketing, and I put myself through school by working retail, so I kind of had that tie-in to the stores, and been with the company for 15 years now.
Wow.
And I absolutely love it. I can't say enough
That's
good things.
That's well, that's wonderful. I didn't even know companies actually had mail rooms anymore.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you still get mail, like departments still get mail. The accounting department still has checks, and
Sure.
you think about the outgoing mail too, like
Oh yeah.
especially like HR mailers.
Uh-huh.
That's always a big push. But
Sure.
yeah, it was the best. I mean, I highly recommend. Anytime I talk to young students that are graduating and trying to make their way into the workforce, it's like just get your foot in the door
Yeah.
and be humble and
Get in the mailroom, talk to people, do everything that they ask you to do, and
yeah.
get known. That's really a good
I
establishment.
still to this day I think that was one of the biggest like step ups in my career, is because I didn't know everything, but I knew who had the answer, and so building those relationships, and it's all about the people and who you work with, and I really appreciate.
Absolutely, yeah, and that makes sense, and because you knew the company, so that you were targeting them and saying, okay, I'm going to go for this place, and then you just find who's the movers and shakers there,
Yep.
and then get established and go.
Yep, absolutely.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So what's something that you would say is counterintuitive to like how you would think as far as marketing and structure of businesses, other than like the great example of the dead zone space? What's something else?
Counterintuitive. The milk in the back of the store is kind of. Do you remember that like analogy that everyone's coming in for milk, so you put it in the back of the store and you hope they pick up things along the way?
I never. Okay.
Oh well, okay, that's it in a nutshell. Is you
That's
put your
why.
your best selling thing in the back of the store, and that something's going to distract them on the way out or the way to it, and they're going to buy
Sure.
more things. We're kind of finding that people's just attention span is not at all what it used to be. I mean, I think like social media and TikTok,
Phones.
if your attention isn't grabbed immediately, you're kind of done. So I actually take the philosophy of putting the good stuff right up front, because the hardest part is just getting them in the door.
Right.
And then once they're in the door, then you can have sales associates that are going to help them find what they need, or engage and that's a business model that a lot of retailers are moving away from, is labor, because it's expensive and that's the easiest way to cut costs when you need to. But there's actually studies that have shown that customers are 60% more likely to make a purchase if you engage with them and interact in a meaningful way, not just hi, welcome to Subway, and then you go about your business.
Sure.
But if you actually have a conversation, they're 60% more likely to purchase. So
Right, yeah, I feel like, what are you looking for? How can I help you?
do you have a trip coming up, or are you planning for a certain climate? Our gear is really made to get people outdoors, but it can also be a great everyday lifestyle. I'm going to a barbecue piece, so just finding out what people need and want and having that conversation.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so that's my philosophy, is just get them in the door, and you do that by putting the good stuff right up front. If people are just walking by and kind of window shopping more or less, they peek in and see the fun stuff, and then they'll find the rest.
That makes sense, right? Yeah, instead of putting it in the back where they've got to get through all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's right there, here's what you're looking for,
Yep.
and then they can peruse or browse if they need to.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's all sorts of little things you learn, and you try new things. I'm really fortunate that I work with a company that's not scared to test and try and learn and fail, see what works and see what doesn't work, and with minimal repercussions, I would say. So
Sure.
I am grateful for that.
You touched on a question I was absolutely wondering, which is like, what's something that you've tried that was a terrible idea that didn't work? Like, do you have any failures like that of like, oh, this just ended up
Nothing like failure, the sales dipped. I mean, because we have 172 stores, so if I put something in the window that is repulsive to people, that has a large impact across the fleet.
Sure.
But no, maybe you try a different promotion that week that says, fleece starting at $20, and you're like, oh man, this is going to be so great, and then you find out, no, people don't really care about fleece. They're far more excited about buy one get one 50% off footwear or something like that. So it's more about the communication, the size of the messaging, where we put the messaging on the storefront. Does it make more sense on the front doors? Does it make more sense in the windows? Trying to pulling different levers that way. And then price, which is not something I control, but pricing, we're finding now people are far more price adverse than they have been in recent years, just because of the economy and
Sure.
potential recession. And
Right.
yeah.
So you can kind of hide the number, make them think they're saving, or make it presented in a way of like, here's why you should get this.
Well, and something that's really interesting that people don't really think about is there are a lot of legalities around what you can market and how you can say something. And so an example is if you say that pants are 70 select styles, pants 70% off, you have to have at least 10% of your overall inventory in the store at that marketed percentage off.
Oh.
So you have to be very confident in what it is that you're marketing, and that every store across the fleet is going to be able to maintain that. And we're finding that customers, again, it's always a life cycle for everything, right? So in the past, we used to really speak to a price point, because that was what was really attention grabbing for people. $19.99, $21.99, $30.99, depending on what it is that we're speaking to. And now we're finding that people are going back to more of the percentage off, even though those price points were at 60% off or 70% off. Actually showing the number of 60 and 70 has a higher turn for us than price points, which didn't used to be the case. It used to be the other way around. People were gravitated more towards those lower price points. So it's always learning. We're always learning. We're always trying new things.
Sure. And that was the one thing I was wondering too, because I like to pick the music that I play in the car. What stuff that you recommend? Not that I sell anything, but like, what's the thought process on the music that's picked?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the music really sets the vibe, the tone, the vibe for the store when you walk in. Is it oldies? Is it today's hits? Is it, it's kind of, we do kind of a mix of 2000s and today.
Okay.
And we stick more so in like the pop genre. But then we also have some of the quote unquote like pop classics, but we typically lean more towards trying to skew more towards a younger demographic.
Okay.
Slowly but surely.
Sure.
Yeah, so just fun, upbeat, something that you'd look and listen to at like a backyard barbecue.
Oh, okay. A little more poppy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of the plan.
Sure. And the idea is to have them more energized, because then they're going to spend more time perusing the store and wanting to do stuff.
Something else we do routinely is turn the AC up. Well, cooler, I guess, so down.
Okay.
So we turn the AC down so that you're maybe a little chilled while you're in the store, so you need to buy an extra layer while you're in there.
Oh, that makes sense. Sure.
We pay a little more in electricity, but we make up for it in the
Right, if you're
back
getting
end.
the sales,
Yeah.
people are buying more coats because they're cold mentally, so they're going to be thinking, well, I'm going to need this coat later.
Yep.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what I would have to, I think a temperate temperature here in the car would be the thing. More or less. That's so interesting. Do you have any particular destination here in downtown Naperville, or just hanging out to see what they do?
I'm gonna grab dinner wherever you're dropping me off at, if
Okay.
I can get in. I should have known it was a holiday weekend that there'd be fun things going on down here, but yeah, that, and then just kind of wandering.
Cool.
I have a friend that's from here originally, and she was giving me some pointers, so
Nice.
we'll
That's
see.
good.
Yeah.
I'm working my way back to Chicago, so I've never hung out here, so I have no idea what's around.
Yeah, I am not your tour guide, unfortunately, today,
that's
but
totally
but I hear it's just a super cute place. So
It definitely is. I'm like, oh man, the Ben and Jerry's ice cream shop. I might have to park for a minute.
that's fine. Yeah, we support this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything. You have a good evening.
You too. Thanks.